It's Thursday, the 17th of March, 2022. Tonight, I'd like to talk about what is the absolute disgrace of corporate Australia, about how they are using this COVID situation to sack employees, to dismiss them, simply because they've decided not to be injected with one of these experimental vaccines, but also using this as an excuse to deny employers their obligations and just sacking them and leaving them out in the cold. Now, there's many companies that could be called out for this, but tonight I'm going to specifically call out Mr. Alan Joyce and Qantas for the disgrace that you are carrying on, sir, at the moment. Let's be very clear. These vaccine mandates that you have put in place are an abuse of human rights. Firstly, let's go back to your announcement, which was made back on the 18th of August last year. It said the Qantas Group will require all employees to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 as part of the national carrier's commitment to safety. Let's just go back to the very basics. Forcing someone to undergo a medical intervention using coercion, using threats of blackmail and extortion to throw them out of their jobs is an abuse of human rights. It is set out here in the Universal Declaration of Bioethics and Human Rights from 2005. Article 6.1, which I have here. Article 6.1 says, and I quote, any preventative, diagnostic and therapeutic medical intervention, that includes being injected with any of those COVID vaccines, is only to be carried out with the prior, free and informed consent of the person concerned based on adequate information. So, Mr. Joyce, you are not giving your employees they're not giving you free and informed consent when you are threatening to throw them out of their jobs. So, Mr. Joyce, very clearly, your company is an abuser of human rights. Now, as members of Parliament, we get given these exclusive little Chairman's Lounge cards, which allows us to go into the Chairman's Lounge and have a free cup of coffee, free cup of tea, a free meal, sit there. Well, Mr. Joyce, I cannot sit in one of your lounges, sir, when I know that you are abusing the human rights of your employees, many of them that are my constituents. So here's what I'm going to do, Mr. Joyce. I'm going to give up going to any of your lounges. I'm going to cut your Qantas Chairman's Lounge card in little pieces, because I'm not going to go into one of your lounges and sit there and take the hospitality of a company that is an abuser of human rights. And not only are you an abuser of human rights, Mr. Joyce, the reason behind these vaccine mandates have completely collapsed. Let's look at the statement that you made back last year on the 18th of August. You said here, I'm quoting directly from your own press release, where it says, announcing the policy, Qantas CEO Alan Joyce said, having a fully vaccinated workforce will safeguard our people against the virus, but also to protect our customers and communities we fly to. Now, you may have had an excuse for saying that back in August last year, but to say that today is absolute BS. There is no evidence whatsoever that exists the data is now crystal clear. Whether you've been injected 3 times, in fact, the data from the UK, the most relevant data we have, indicates that it's likely that you are 3 times so your decision to employ these mandates are against the science. they are against the evidence, they are un-Australian, and they are an abuse of human rights. So, Mr. Joyce, I am not going to sit in any more of your lounges while you continue with this policy of abusing the human rights of your staff. And then there's the question of why you are doing it. Now, I've heard from Qantas employees that they're not only being thrown out of their jobs, but you are denying them their fair entitlements to a redundancy pay. This actually seems or appears to be some type of trick that Qantas has employed to cheat people out, to cheat workers out of what is a fair redundancy payment if you're going to sack them. This is not what corporate Australia should be up to. And I call on the board of Qantas, those Qantas board members that actually understands the importance of Qantas's, how many Australians hold Qantas dear in their heart, about how Qantas's reputation is being trashed by this policy. Qantas now is a company that is known and should officially be known as an abuser of human rights. That's not the Qantas that most Australians are proud of, Mr. Joyce. It's up to you to follow the science, to follow the evidence, listen to the real medical experts like Peter McCullough, Dr. Peter McCullough, that says these vaccines you are blackmailing employees to inject a substance into themselves that we know is no longer. Shame, Qantas. Shame. And finally, where is Mr. Albanese, the head of the Labor Party, the so-called Workers' Party? Where are they standing up for all these employees that are being sacked around the nation by corporate Australia? We're not hearing a peep out of any single Labor member of Parliament that supposedly represent the workers. If workers' rights don't include the ability for them to say no to a medical intervention enforced by their employer, what other rights do workers have in this country? And yet the very party, the Labor Party, that is meant to stand up for those workers is missing in action. We know the modern Labor Party is closer to corporate Australia than it is to the workers and the unions that they're meant to represent, those people that get out there and do hard work every day. Not only shame Qantas, shame on the Labor Party. You have betrayed your traditions, you have betrayed your roots, and you are betraying the workers of this nation.